now, I want us to deal with this intellectually. I have read comments and I've seen some people come up with some very convincing theory. And this is about the southwest of Nigeria, as a lot would be called, a lot of them, I'm not saying every one of them will be called Oduduwa. And there is this talk about Oduduwa coming from, they said, in fact, from some articles that I've read, they said there are two Oduduwas. I don't know how true that is. And that one is this, one came from Mecca, one came this and that. Although, anyway, a professor of communication studies, Taufik Additional Aziz, has told those calling for Oduduwa or Yoruba Republic to have a rethink on their agitation, as history did not support their claims. I once listened to a king in Ondo State. He said that he is not Oduduwa. He is not Oduduwa. And I decided to kind of look much more into this to understand where it's coming from. What is this all about? How come he said he is not an Oduduwa? And this person is no other than a very popular king. Is Oba Akinrutan. Akinrutan is a very outspoken king, and at times many of them do have issues with themselves. He wrote a book and he said certain things, and he talked about I think he's called Olugbo of Ugbo, and he said that from history, don't forget that many of them are custodian of this history. Some of this history might be true, some might not. I do not know about that, but I'm throwing this out open for you. He said that Oduduwa met us here. We are not Oduduwas. That how can I be what? How can I be someone, something, represent, accept a name of someone when he met me here? And do not forget that the Oba of Ife and that location Ife itself has always been, they say, is the cradle of Yoruba deeds and all of that. This is a story that is said. Does that mean that there are any other parts of that southwest of Nigeria where people were already established? Or is it that that became the most popular location and they had the greatest warrior, like New York, where things are happening, or Washington, D.C., or Lagos State, stuff like that, where things are happening. Like there is Lagos, but we have Lagos Island where a lot of things are working. And when you talk about Lagos, the first thing that comes to the mind of people is Lagos Island, Banana, Island, and stuff like that. So all of these things could have added to this. And when I also looked at the scriptures, Bible, and the Quran, there are certain people that the Bible does not talk about, but it focuses on specific people, either for the role they played, and that's that. So I want to know how it became Oduduwa. They say we're Oduduwa. How did everybody come from Oduduwa? If Oduduwa came and met people there. So like I said, someone posited and claimed that there are two Oduduwas. How true that is, I am not sure. Now, in a statement entitled, "Are you a Yoruba or Omo Oduduwa?" he posited that some great Yoruba towns and cities have been in existence before the advent of Oduduwa. According to him, there is a narrative that established the presence of most of the Okeogun towns before the arrival of Oduduwa. It was also contended that these Okeogun elder brothers advised him to go to Ife and found his own kingdom, and that he had only one son, Okambi, who gave birth to 7 children that founded some of the kingdoms. You may wish to find out the nature and language of the people you met in Ife, and his own language too. You may also wish to defend Ife as a conquered territory rather than a founded kingdom. You may need to explain how Okeogun people became children of our younger brother, if politics of peace and slave mentality that makes all of us answer to foreign nomenclatures, Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, Nigerians, are not being forcefully endorsed and maintained through intellectual abracadabra. I didn't mean to shake any table. I just want to know why we should accept the narratives of foreigners about ourselves. Nigger means slave. Nigger means slave. That's what I want you to understand first in deep Nigeria. So for people who are proud to say I'm a Nigerian, you are not wise, and your lack of wisdom is as a result of intellectual abracadabra. what has been put into you for a very long time. If you call yourself a Nigerian, you are ridiculing yourself. You are bringing yourself lower than low. And that's what it is. Niger, nigger means slave. And that is what has been given. Negro, nigger. This is what Nigeria means. Slave area. And they don't shower. They don't clean up themselves. They are made to work in the farm for a very long time. They don't clean up themselves. They were put in plantation. I imagine how you are underneath the sun, working without shower. What else happens? You cannot get yourself clean. So automatically they were brought low, like, oh, these smelling people, they were only allowed to work in the farm. That is what brought about, oh, black people smell. Now, I'm not trying to tell you that there aren't people who don't take care of themselves. Every nation, every people littered everywhere in the world, whatever race it is, if you do not take care of yourself, you are going to have naturally that smell. Aside people who have body odor as a problem, and that comes from inside of them. That's a different one. So that's what brought about this. Those slaves were made to work in the plantation. They weren't cared for. They were only used. Some of them fall down. Some of them are pregnant and they are working on the plantation. So if you don't shower for days and you're on the farm, I don't think you want to smell good, right? So that is how they brought about this narrative. Meaning, what they send you into, that is what they use eventually to insult and abuse you. That's on that side. So it went for that, say, Nigeria, slave area became Niger River area and became Nigeria. It's a shame if it is true. I'm not into history, but I also have parents and friends among the traditional rulers who must talk, who must not talk. Another question Nigerian historians must find answers to is who signed the amalgamation, considering the relatively young age of Ahmadu Bello, Zik, and Awolowo at that time, he asked. Aziz averred that some people like Agboneregu and others preceded Oduduwa to reach Ile-Ife, and such Oduduwa cannot be progenitor of Yoruba land if other people were there already. Okeogun no doubt played significant role in the establishment and development of Ife, even before Oduduwa or the Oromiyan dynasty, and such cannot be from Ile-Ife or Oduduwa himself. This exercise is not meant to waste your time. It is rather purpose to ginger something in you as a so-called Yoruba or Oduduwa. Are you really Yoruba? Are you really Oduduwa? Is there a different name, identity that you should claim than what has been told to you? Who named you Yoruba other than a colonialist who packed different people together and imposed a tribal name on them despite variation in their languages? Now known as dialects of the strange language of the strange people, Yoruba. He submitted that our ancestors were Okeogun, Oyo, Egba, Ijebu, Ekiti, Ijesha, and etc. And that was the basis of the so-called Internecine War. We couldn't have fought one another if we were the same people. We were different people, haulaged into the Niger Company, Niger Company. Niger Company is the British business, and that is this contraption called Niger area that you call Nigeria. My interest is particularly my Okeogun people who are neither Oduduwa because they lived before Agboneregun and along with Agboneregun and along before Oduduwa nor Yoruba. A father cannot possibly be a child to his own child. We are also not Yoruba except for the sake of the peace which makes us also answer Nigerians. So this man is saying that I am Okeogun. I am not Oduduwa and I'm not a Yoruba man. It is therefore logical that a people, Okeogun people, who play significant roles in the establishment and development of Ife cannot possibly originate from Ife. We are therefore not Oduduwa, he added. He alluded to the secessionist agitation. That reminds me of the political jingoism of Oduduwa Republic and the big fraudulent joke about secession from Nigeria. How can fake get away from fake? It is no longer restructuring, but secession, and the commander-in-chief is a professor, he lamented. According to him, my own contention is that Okeogun people have never been Yorubas and will never be Oduduwa. Now I'm throwing this as, a discourse for you, and I'm going to go through few here and there. People reacted to this. There are people who are intellectually bright. and people who have informations too. Of course, it's history anyway. Someone said this is very incorrect. Okeogun as region are people of different origin, but migrated to their various locations independently and for a different reason. While he's saying migrated from Ijebu, Kishi are Ibariba, Shekpeteri are from Ifon, Agoare and Ofiki are from Ekiti. Ojeowode migrated from Old Oyo Empire, from an area within the current Niger state due to the Fulani War. What now form basis that Okeogun people are not Yorubas? That's one. Another person here said that I am Shaki, the biggest city in Okeogun. And this Shaki was established by Ogun, one of the children of Oduduwa. I don't know where this man got his history. We reasonable Yorubas have begun to discover the Judacy among us. I am a practicing Sunni brother. Nobody can stop us from this struggle for freedom. If Taufik Aziz is tired of slavery, let him continue lecturing in his Hausa University. Another person said Taufik Aziz is so poorly educated. He claimed that his Okeogun people are not Yoruba, but he failed woefully to tell us who they are. Okeogun people are not Yoruba, but they are speaking Yoruba language and bearing Yoruba name. This man is a pathetic man. Another one say, yeah, you're unavailable to differentiate between the language spoken by Okeogun, Agbonoregun, before the arrival of Oduduwa. As a respected teacher who intends to convince us to accept what you are passing across to us, you refuse to tell us the language spoken by Oduduwa himself. If Oduduwa spoke another language spoken by Okeogun and Agbonoregun, why did Oduduwa name his only son Okambi? Since we are not Yoruba and we did not descend from Oduduwa, can you now tell us our language and where we descended from? This is a new of this half-baked professor. So, guys, with the wealth of information that you have, let us deal with this. What do you think this professor is positing? Or is there something else that has been kind of tugging you inside?